I think that clears up everything I needed to tell you all. And let's bring in tonight's guest. Her name is Tatiana Cooper. Let's see if we can get her on. Hi, Maureen. Hi. Hi,
Hey,
beautiful.
hey, how are you?
How are you? I'm
Good.
about to turn the volume up on my phone. Real. How do I do this? I'm just not technology savvy, y'all. Wait a minute. There we go.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. It wasn't you. It was me. I didn't have my volume all the way up.
You're fine.
Can you see
Mm-hmm.
okay? Hey, girl. Hey.
Hey, Bree.
How you
My
doing?
friend's going. Good.
Good, good. Well, welcome to this platform, Tatiana. First of all, thank you. Thank you for being a part of an amazing project. I've been on this journey for about a little over a year now, and we've got some amazing stories already in the archives. And I just appreciate you contributing your time and your story to this platform because, again, the objective is all the time. If we reach one person, then we're good. We've been
Right.
reach, we've been reaching thousands of people, but only one is necessary to make a difference. So if your story touches just one person, then it's all well worth what we're doing.
Exactly.
And so I want to say thank you, and I also want you to take an opportunity to introduce yourself appropriately. And what I like to do is I like to start by giving you an opportunity to talk about real briefly who you are today, who you are, and then I'd like for you to take us back down memory lane as far back as you want to go. That's on you to tell us when you feel that real life trauma first entered into your life and talk us through what that was like and how you transitioned to become the phenomenal woman that you are today. So that's how this will
Okay.
go. And I prefer for me, I always like to start with just a quick prayer. So if that's okay with you,
Okay.
I will just start. I will start tonight by just saying, God, thank you. Thank you for another day. Thank you for Tatiana. Thank you for this platform. Thank you, God, for healing millions of people through the sharing of our powerful stories of going through life trauma and living it out triumphantly. God, I thank you for all of those lives that we will touch tonight. Let us say things. Let us inspire people. Let you live through both of us as we go through Tatiana's journey of trauma to triumph. These and all other blessings I ask in Christ's name. Amen. Let's
Amen.
go. Let's go. So introduce yourself and let's take a stroll down memory lane.
Okay, so I'm Tatiana Cooper, and I'm originally from Chicago, Illinois. I am a graduate from North Carolina A&T State University. Yes, and yeah, a little bit about me. I have an engineering background, but right now I currently live in Raleigh, North Carolina, and I work for Fidelity Investments. And then I also have a nonprofit called SAGE, which stands for Saving Adolescent Girls Everywhere. And we operate out of Southeast Raleigh area.
Wow, I love SAGE. I love that. Say what that stands for again.
Saving Adolescent Girls Everywhere.
Yes, saving adolescent
Mm-hmm.
girls everywhere. Oh my gosh, yes, I love that. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more then, Tatiana, about you and your journey.
Okay. So don't mind me, y'all. This might be like a little deep for me because it's been a while since, you talk about really deep stuff. But so I think my journey really started, I would say, as far as the trauma piece goes, it started back in like 2015 time frame. I was living in Baltimore, Maryland, and I was in a really heavy relationship where I just kind of lost myself behind it, lost myself in my engineering work, and I really just turned to a lot of like partying and staying out and really just dealing with the toxic relationship at that time, right?
Okay, so
Um,
you're in 2015 time frame. You're saying, you're in a toxic relationship.
yeah, and I lived with the guy that I was with for about 3 years.
what does toxic mean when people say, well, what does she mean by toxic? Because that could mean that's relative, depends on who you're talking to.
So to me, toxic is like looking for something wrong, right? So saying that you can have everything right in front of you, but then you're nitpicking at stuff to try to find an argument, or nitpicking at situations when it's like everything's just good, but now things are good for too long. You want to like get back into the turmoil of it, right? So that's what I see as toxic. Yeah, and of course, like physical, verbal abuse, all of that is, you know, that's what I definitely consider toxic as well.
So were those things present in this toxic relationship?
Yeah, it was present. It didn't really start being present until like the 3rd year of the relationship. But honestly, that entire relationship is what fueled my journey to Sage. Just because I wanted to help girls that look like me, preventing them from situations. And, you know, I think that was just all God, that whole situation, just being able to get out of that. You know, some women go through domestic violence and they don't make it out. So being able to make it out and just completely 360 my life and devote my time and energy to building young women, that was what I wanted to do.
Wow. And so, you know, while you're in this toxic relationship, please feel free to share, you know, like what things got you to the breaking point. You know, like, please feel free to be as candid as you are comfortable being, to give other women some insight as to, you know, like how bad things got before you finally realized, okay, I got to get out of this. And then what steps you took to get yourself out of that.
Okay. So, I think I'll just be real vulnerable and say that I think a lot of people think, you know, when people go through a domestic violence relationship, it's always like one-sided, like the man always has to put their hand on the women. And I did find myself in that relationship, you know, just being from Chicago and having kind of like a, if you try me, I'm gonna fight you type of guard up.
So you threw hands.
What'd you say?
You threw hands.
Both, which doesn't make it okay. You know what I'm saying? So of course, you know, even though I have thrown hands in a situation, whether it's for protection or whatever the case may be, it doesn't mean, you know, like in that relationship, you know, I definitely was a victim when it came to everything being the end and the split and the end all be all, you know. But I think sometimes you go through things and try to normalize it, right? Like if you can get through a fight and you're not hurt, you're like, oh, it's not that bad. And then you just keep going. So I will say it just started.
Don't go anywhere. I just let a bug in here. 1 second. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, you good.
1 second. Nico, we cannot let bugs in here. Okay. I'm back.
Okay. So yeah, I don't really know exactly like what was the start, but I can honestly say it was just like insecurity and lack of trust. And it was very physical. It was very physical. Like he would find something wrong. It was more of like a narcissistic type of way, and like a reverse psychology trying to convince you that you're doing something wrong, but you're not, right? So like, say for instance, if he like pushed the table in front of me and I was like running to him and he pushed it and I fell, he'll be like, that's your fault, you ran into that table. You know what I'm saying? Instead of it being like, but I pushed the table so that you could run into it. So that would kind of get us like, no, you're trying to hurt me, or you're trying to like provoke me to do something. But it was very physical. And then the last day, it was in December of 2017. He just put his hands on me so bad that I was like completely battered. And to the point that I didn't want to leave. I didn't call the police on him. I didn't do anything about it. He actually.
Can you tell us why? Like help other women understand what it is that's going through your head and your heart when someone has beat you up and you still don't want them to get in trouble and you don't want to leave. You know what I mean? No judgment,
yeah.
But women do need to understand from the other side, like what it is that you feeling and thinking when these things happen to you and you still don't want to leave and you don't want that person to be held accountable.
Right. And for me, I didn't want to leave because I thought about like everything we talked about for our future, you know. So we were gonna like get a house together. We were gonna have kids. We wanted to get married. And so, you know, you're in your 20s, I'm kind of like, oh, I don't want to start over. You know, it's 3 years. You have that fear of like missing out, you know, just imagining like, oh, you just keep telling yourself like things are going to get better. So I think for me, I stayed so long thinking like it could have been worse, or like it's not that bad, we can get past it. Right. Yeah.
Okay. So, you know, and that's interesting, because everybody who stays in those situations, they have different reasons. And that's why I was very curious to hear what you were feeling and thinking when you decided, you know what, I don't want to leave. You were holding on to the hope of, you know, what you all had promised to have with each other, or what you know what I mean? The desires of your heart was to be like, you know what, I still want to have a family with this person. And you didn't want to give up on that.
And then when you're in a relationship like that, sometimes you start to go and be like thinking about all the good things. You don't really like, okay, this is a one like hiccup, you know, like it's not going to end everything that we've been through that was good. And you start to, when you are a victim, especially of domestic violence, you start to just replay all the good things instead of, you know, you overshadow everything that's really going on just to not lose that person, you know?
And so when he would do these things, would he apologize? Like, would he be one of those people be like, I'm so sorry, I'll never do it again?
No, he would like laugh at me. He would put his friends on the phone. He would like have people look at me suffer. You know what I'm saying? He would like be on like FaceTime with my friends and be like, look, she's tripping, she's crazy, after he had did something, and I would just be really embarrassed, you know? So
wow. Ooh, okay, so you mentioned that that one time, I don't know, 2017, where he had done it again and he had beat you so bad, and even then you didn't want to leave. What happened after that?
So he didn't want me. I tried to like leave I didn't call the cops. So I was trying to actually leave, but I didn't call the cops. And when I was leaving, he wasn't giving me my vehicle, so I tried to take his to leave. So he had my car key and I used his. And at that point, he called the cops to try to claim that I was taking the vehicle. So now the cops are here. And then as soon as I get out the car and they see me, they arrested him right away.
Okay. So they saw you.
Yeah.
And they knew.
Yeah, like get him. Yeah.
Okay. And so he was arrested.
He was arrested.
And how does that process work? Did you have to comply? Did you have to press charges?
All they said was, did he do this to you? Yes or no? And I said, yeah. And then, you know, because you're trying to get me for stealing your car. I didn't do that. I just wanted to leave.
Right.
So I said, yeah. And then they arrested him. And yeah, it was a wrap from there. So.
Wow. And so once he was arrested, how did that make you feel? Because I'm sure at that point, right, wrong, or indifferent, you probably still loved him.
Yeah. And then we all had to like, you know, I had to figure out like we lived together. Like, you know, this was technically it's like a crime scene. So now we got to move, and like, he's all I have here, you know, and he was the type that you lose sight of your friendships. So now it's like, I don't have no one to go to because I'm so up under him, you know, I don't even have anyone to call right now. And my family's in Chicago.
Wow. Wow. So what did you do?
I moved out, and I reached out to one of my line sisters, Madison, and we didn't really have a relationship, but I think I was so like desperate at the time. Like I was like, y'all need somewhere to go. And so she let me in, and we've been like inseparable ever since then. And, you know, I would sleep in her couch and things like that. And then I was just like, I'm gonna get my life together. So I started over. I went to a school. I started thinking like, I want to help girls. I wanted to do SAGE. So I went into a school one day. It was like, I want to volunteer to help the girls here. Then out of that turned into job opportunity because the principal was like, oh, we see you played volleyball at A&T. Can you coach? So I was like, okay. And then he was like, oh, our engineering teacher just left. We saw you're an engineer. Can you teach engineering? And I was like, okay. So, you know, that was just kind of the start of everything for me.
Wow. Okay. So let me just back up really quickly, Tatiana. So when he went to jail, like, did you all continue to communicate? Like, did you cut him off, or did you continue to communicate? How did things end up with that situation? Did he have to stay in jail? Did he come out and you were afraid that he was going to try to come? Like, tell us a little bit about that.
So it's mad embarrassing, but he was indicted and he came out 3 months later on house arrest, and I did stay with him. So I went back. Yeah, I did go back.
Don't be embarrassed, honey, please.
Yeah.
This helps other women. So many women. So many.
Yeah, so I did go back.
Okay.
Yeah, I went back.
So once he got out, you went back.
Mm-hmm.
Did you go back? Was he like begging you to come back, or you just was just like, I want to go back?
I felt like I didn't have anything. Like I had lost, because I had to quit my job because they were trying to subpoena me to go to court against him.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I don't want to lock him up. I don't want to ruin his life. So I was hiding. And pretty much he took me into this apartment they moved him to. And it was more of a sneak around. You know, I like showed up there in a hoodie, shades, like nobody could see me. The police officers, they would randomly check. I'd have to hide in the closet. So I had nowhere to live, you know, and I had to quit my job to protect him at the time. Right.
So, you know, women are going to want to know, you know, on here, I ask the questions that they want to know. Mm-hmm. Was it the D?
No, it wasn't. It was the support, you know, it was the support. Okay. He was very like driven, like, oh, what's your credit score? We're going to be together. You got to have balance and stability. And so he was very structured. Like he was a very structured person. He just had that alpha male energy that was just very dominant. Yeah. Okay. And so that's what it was for you. Mm-hmm. And like alpha and alpha, we just didn't click. So I'm very strong too, but I thought my alpha, I'm going to fight you if you fight me. Like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So how long did that last? So you went back? How long did it last, and did he put his hands on you again? The ending is crazy. So no, he didn't put his hands on me. I thought we were gonna work it out. And so he got arrested in December. His trial was in June. So I'm hiding out until June. Mm-hmm. And, you know, he's like, the lawyer called, I'm gonna get off the case, you know, because you haven't answered, you're not gonna subpoena, all of that. So we're going to be okay. That's what he was saying. I'm like, okay, cool. And every time I would lay next to him, I was like, it was God. I was like, God is telling me that this is not it. Like, this is temporary. Something is going to happen. I got a nervous feeling. I was like, even though he's not hitting me, something's going to happen. That's like, you know. Right. You had a feeling. That intuition, everything just kicks in, right? So even the day of the trial was just nervous. His family comes, everything. I'm just nervous. So he gets off on the trial, and he comes back and he's like, I'm done with you. Like, get out. I'm moving to New Orleans. Wait. So they did that so I wouldn't testify. So they played their role so I wouldn't testify against him. So that's embarrassing. I mean, you keep telling me it's not, but it felt horrible. Like, he comes home from the trial, and I'm like, okay, you know, I don't regret it, because it's like, I don't know where I would be if we did try to work it out, you know? And I felt like everything was. You got to thank God for, you got to still thank him for looking out for you. Even in the moment, you didn't feel like somebody was looking out for you. You felt like somebody had just dragged your whole life. I'm like, the audacity. Yeah, I know. And his whole family knew. So even though they're being nice, like, you know, thank you for not doing this against my son. When he gets in, they're like, yeah, call your mom, get your next flight home. Like, he's leaving. And I was like, okay. And I just, you know, I was like, all right, I'm out. And I left. My family had to send me money for a hotel. And he literally, like, contacted me that night and asked to come to the hotel. And I seen him the last day. That was the last day I ever seen him. And he was just like, I'm sorry about all of this. My family is really the reason. Like, they wanted me to do it this way so that I wouldn't try to stay. But I've lost all my money behind this trial. I've lost over $50,000. I got to go. And he pretty much was saying, like, his parents had put him up to it, and his siblings, because, of course, you know, you got sisters. They mad that you're getting locked up over this girl. They're not going to understand if you want to work it out. I don't know if he did or he didn't. But he did, like, apologize about everything. He was like, I didn't want it to end like this, but I know my family's watching me and we gotta go. So when I was suffering, he was, like, sending me money. I just wasn't communicating with him. So he was, like, sending me money to try to help me get on my feet, like the guilt. of that he was sending it. And then after he sent a certain amount, I was like, you know what, I'm done. Like, I'm not comfortable with this. And I just stopped.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Wow.
So that's when I actually phoned my line sister, was like, yo, I need a place to stay. Like, after I lost everything. But I could have moved back to Chicago, but something was telling me, like, you got to stay here. Like, don't give up just because of him, you know? So then I moved back, and I stayed on her couch for months. And I wrote my whole plan to start my nonprofit, and then I went to the school, and then we started the organization from there.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still stuck that they really gashed you like that.
It was wild. Like, it was like, and then you in the moment, like, I'm like, I can't even breathe. Like, this is not real, you know? Like, I was out of work for all this time. Like, we're not going to be together. Like, okay, cool. But, you know, everything that I lost, I got it back 10 times faster. And I was just like, yeah, like, it all came back.
So
Yeah.
you see, though, in life, when things like that happen, when they happen to us, we're thinking, like, this is the worst damn thing ever. Like, God, how could this be happening to me?
Mm-hmm.
Where really the lesson is, when these types of things are happening, this is a lesson for me right now in this moment. Thank you, God. The lesson is, even in the storm, we should know that if God is allowing it to happen, there's something better on the other side that he is trying to get
like,
us. Yeah. And so instead of us breaking down and feeling like all hope is lost when we're in those moments, when we're in life trauma, we really should be saying, God, I thank you. Mm-hmm. I don't know why this is happening to me, but I know you wouldn't be allowing it if there weren't something better on the other side.
Yeah.
So it is really, truly a lesson and a testimony to say, you know what? Even when things are looking the worst, we got to know it's something better on the other side. Mm-hmm. And we just got to be thankful, even in those moments. And I struggle with that myself. I struggle because, you know, I'm such a sensitive, emotional person. And so I'm just like, you know, like, God, why is this happening to me? Mm-hmm. You know, and really, based on everything that I've learned and what I know about spirit world is that I really should be saying, God, thank you. Whatever's about to happen, Lord, thank you.
Mm-hmm. It's hard in the moment, for sure. Like,
don't let it take me out. Don't let it take me out. But I'm going to go through it because I know you got me. And we should really learn that lesson as we see, like through stories like yours, we can see he was really looking out for you.
Yeah.
He knew he was going to give you everything back 10 times. You didn't know that, though.
At all. You know, you feel like, where do you go from nothing, you know? Like, you lost the guy, you have no job, and this is like, I went to A&T, I got an engineering degree, you know, so at this point, I'm like, what do I sound like saying I have nowhere to live, no money, no job, you know, I'm an excellent, you know, worker, so that was just such a humbling moment, like, to live, and like, even though I had family stuff, it's like, I really was like homeless, you know? Wow. So that was just the way I'm living. But now it just seems like so unbelievable. I've always been really supported in sports and had a huge community, and I just never thought I could fall that hard, you know?
Wow. I'm really, really inspired by your strength and the endurance. Because you didn't, you know, like, you fell on hard times. We could say you fell down, but what's the song by Donnie McClurkin? We fall down, but we get up. You got up on your friend's couch, and you rode that couch for as long as you needed to, and you got your life back together. I won't say you, but God put your life back together. Yeah. You know, and you started your foundation, and you kept going. So inquiring minds want to know, where is he now? Whatever happened with the guy?
I won't say where he's at now.
Not physically. Now, we don't want to know if he's in
Detroit. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know anything. I don't know.
So that relationship truly is behind you.
Yeah. I mean, we talked maybe like a year and a half ago, very short. Maybe when I had my daughter, he reached out and was like, congratulations, type of thing. And that was it.
Okay. And you have not attracted other men that put their hands on you since? How?
No, I get all the nice guys now. Sometimes I'm like, okay, I guess this is where I'm supposed to
Yeah.
be. So,
Yeah.
mm,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. And so you started your foundation what year?
the same year, oh, the 2018.
Really?
So, and yeah, so I think I started it, and so in June of 2018 is when I like left him, and then in August I started Sage. And then I was working at the school, but I went from those 3 or 4 months, like living on the couch, all of that, to having multiple streams of income, like from being a teacher and a coach. And then he was giving me, a budget to start the organization and run the organization. So I literally lost everything. And then in August, launched the organization. School started September, and now I'm getting paid 3 different incomes from that one job, like one location.
Look at God.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about trauma to triumph. If that's not the story of trauma to triumph, then I don't know what is. Girl, I'm just so inspired by this. And so many, I have so many personal friends who have lived through domestic violence. There was one episode on this platform with a young lady who her children's father shot her like 8 times.
Oh, wow. That's deep.
She lived. She's in a wheelchair, but she was
Mm-hmm.
on this platform telling her story, though.
That's
Domestic
really
violence is
mm-hmm.
real.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, won't he do it, though? Won't he do it? Have you done any, through Sage or otherwise, have you done any other events or spoken more about domestic violence, just to try to, help other women get through that based on your own testimony?
So we had someone, she's kind of like my cousin, but we had her like be our domestic violence advocate when I started in Baltimore. My girls knew what I had went through at that time. My Baltimore girls knew, but they didn't. I never went around like sharing it. It was just too fresh for me,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was a little bit like, I'm gonna just stay quiet. But it's a part of my story, and I'm not anywhere near like being the person I used to be. So I think it's more of like, okay, I've really healed from that.
Amen to that. Amen to that. You've really healed from that. Have you ever thought about, Tatiana, like how you would handle it if you ever got yourself into another situation where a man put his hands on you? Like, are there signs? You know what I mean? Like, are there signs?
I
Like,
think
are there signs that a woman would know he's about to hit me? Like, what are the signs?
that's a tough one, because I haven't been in anything like that in so long that it's like, it gets me a little nervous. Like, you just feel like you wouldn't know how to handle it, like
You wouldn't know how to handle it.
no, I mean, of course I wouldn't go through that again. Like, of course, based off everything I went through, I'm like, no, I'm not going to tolerate that. But it would make me nervous if I wanted to be with someone and they start showing like those behaviors of being physical. It would really just be like, wow, like, and
Yeah.
hopefully if it is, I hope I find out sooner than later. I hope I'm not a year in and then this side goes out and it's like feeling like you wasted a year with someone, like.
Right. And so what would you tell, your daughter who's about, when she's about to be a teenager one day and she's dating, what are some things that you would tell her to prevent her, hopefully, from being in a situation where someone is putting their hands on her?
So definitely, I would say just recognizing those early signs. And I think it always starts with verbal. I think when a man starts to talk down on you and degrade you of your worth and your value, that's, like the caution right there. You kind of ignore it, or if they make you feel like you're replaceable, that's another thing. It's like, okay, like, oh, I could go do this. Oh, this people will want me too. Then you're like, when you hear stuff like that. So I would hope for my daughter, it's just like, if you ever feel like you're in a relationship where a man is talking down on you initially, to come to me, or to either, or I'll get you, maybe a counselor or someone that you feel like you can get it off your chest with. So a lot of people don't like to put things on their family, because then their family will hate the person. And so they keep it like that was my thing. I didn't want to tell my mom, because I didn't want her to not like him,
That's
right?
right.
So
I
it,
get it.
yeah. So it's like even just providing my daughter with the resources so that people could be like, this is your worth. Like you don't deserve that, you know? And a lot of it has to do with the fathers too playing their role. You know, if you have a good supportive father, that's what you're gonna look for in a man. You know what I'm saying? And if you have
Did
that,
you?
I did not. And so I love my father now. You know, I will say it's never too late. You know how you started? Better late than never. And my father is great now, you know, but I mean, it just took to me like really having my daughter and like recently, you know, for him to come around. So I think
Better
that would have
late than
helped.
never, though, right?
Right.
Like, you know?
Yeah, because now she has that relationship with him. So I'm grateful for that, you know. But I
Absolutely.
definitely think it was harder just not having that, so you don't know what you're expecting, you know. Like you cannot go to a man and be like, my father would never put his, you know, you don't have that when you're like in a single mom home. So that's why
Mm-hmm.
my daughter, I mean, she still sees her father, things like that. I really want that for her because it's just so important when you come to like recognizing the signs of a man's touching you, not just being like, I'm gonna fight you, or if you hit me, I'm gonna hit you back. You know, it's good for them to be like, my father would never do that, you know, or my brothers would never. And I wasn't raised with my brothers, so it was always just women,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Such good insight, such good stuff, you know. I'm sorry that you ever had to go through that. Sorry, but it clearly made you a much stronger woman. It
Mm-hmm.
clearly made you serve as a testimony now for other women.
Yeah.
Um, and it takes, I feel like it takes a village to raise children. It takes a village to raise adults too. It takes a
Mm-hmm.
it takes a village of us to get us through stuff, you
Mm-hmm.
know? And a lot of times it takes trailblazers and women like you and me who have gone through some things to be able to come back and scoop up the other young ladies and say, you don't have to go through what I went
Mm-hmm.
through. And here's how I can help you not avoid the same things that I did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
We have a responsibility to continue to serve as testimonies for other people, so that's the purpose of this platform, so
Right.
that people can say, you know what, I don't want to have to go down that road, and so I'm not, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So thank you so much for sharing. Thank you for your transparency. And you even said in a few moments, you know, like, this is embarrassing. Thank you for being so vulnerable, because there's no embarrassment here on this platform.
Yeah.
It's not allowed.
Yeah.
No
No, and
embarrassment is
I see
allowed.
some of the Sage girls on here. So I mean,
Yay.
especially for Raleigh, you know, I really haven't like went too deep into my story with them. So hopefully they could even take something from this. It's just real, you know, and people, especially these young girls, it's a lot of mixed messages in the media, in the music, you know, and the perception of what love is. Like, I really just hope that they hone into what they really deserve as, you know, when it comes to being loved and like that value that they really deserve. Don't get caught up in what you see on social media. Don't get caught up in like the Blueface and Krishan stuff. Like, you don't want that. We don't want that for those girls, you know?
No, we don't want that. We don't. That's not love.
Mm-hmm.
That's not it. That ain't it, ladies.
And
Okay.
sometimes
And
people
I
see
ain't
certain
judging,
things
but
as,
that ain't it.
yeah, they see it as entertainment. Some people see it as entertainment. I don't know if my girls do, but you know, it's always making headlines. It's always making media. And so the more you put that out there, people think it's acceptable, you know, and it's really not. So.
Yeah, yeah. Well, is there anything else you'd like to share about Sage, or about who you are and what you do? Anything else you'd like to share on this platform, Tatiana, before we wrap things up?
No, I mean, just pretty much if, you know, if you all do want to stay tuned with our journey for Sage, you can follow us at sage.inc, so sage.inc. We have a lot coming up for the girls. We have 14 girls that are about to launch their businesses. So that's exciting. Yeah. Oh,
Yes.
girl.
We've had a lot of people that came on late. Can you just one more time repeat the mission for Sage, what it stands for, and what its mission is?
Okay, so SAGE stands for Saving Adolescent Girls Everywhere. And our mission is to provide social awareness and mental health. I see my mental health advocate on here now, so thank you. Career and professional development, and educational involvement. So we help them with like school, study hall, things like that.
I love it. I love it so much. And if there's ever a time where Trauma to Triumph can help your Sage mission, anytime that you want me to, participate in something or talk to some girls, whatever, because I have life trauma. I've never been in a domestic violence situation for physical abuse. Oh, but baby, I have some stories about how being verbally abused can be almost as detrimental.
Mm-hmm.
I remember feeling in my first marriage, I remember feeling moments of like, I'd rather for you to just punch me, get it over.
Oh, wow.
Punch me in
Yeah.
the face, because this other stuff that you're doing to me is tearing me all the way down to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And when someone is constantly tearing you apart verbally, it beats you down. It beats you down. It beats you down. And I used to remember feeling like I could probably take one or two good punches.
Yeah.
Because then that's over with.
Mm-hmm.
This other stuff that you're doing to me, this is like really hard.
Yeah.
And it takes a woman's self-esteem to an all-time
Love.
low.
Yes.
So, if there's ever an opportunity where I can help you or the girls of Sage, please let me know.
Yeah, definitely. And we have some events coming up. I mean, we have our gala in November, so I'll definitely invite you to come
We're
out.
all in this together.
Yep.
And I'd love to be able to share my story with whoever I think it could help.
Definitely. Thank you, Terry.
Thank you, beautiful. Thank you so very much. Again, before we get off, this is Trauma to Triumph, where we're going to save millions of lives through the sharing of our stories. We're going to heal so many people through the sharing of our powerful stories. The website is www.trauma2Triumph.com. The email is info@trauma2Triumph.com. And I'm always open to accepting donations. Trauma to Triumph is now a nonprofit as of May 1st.
Oh, congratulations.
Yes, we were approved as a nonprofit organization. So your donations are tax deductible. So please consider Trauma to Triumph as the next organization that you all donate to. I'm still looking for more powerful Trauma to Triumph stories. I'm taking calendar appointments now for the next couple of Tuesdays. So if you all are listening and you want to refer someone to this platform, or if you yourselves have a story that you'd like to share, please reach out and let's hear your story and see if we can get you scheduled for Trauma to Triumph. And I thank you all so much for tuning in again. Next week, we'll be right back again on Tuesday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, with another powerful story. And this story will be up on the YouTube channel later tonight. And also this I don't delete my lives. So this whole Instagram live will stay on my Trauma to Triumph Instagram page as well. But I will edit it and put it on YouTube, and that way you can share it with whoever you want to share it with.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Thank you so much
for having me.
All right. Thank you so much. I'll talk to y'all later. We'll see y'all next Tuesday.
All right, have a good night.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.